blue skies, and on every occasion that you do or don't smile.
So welcome to Sensible Secondhand Reviews, the show where we look at sensible cars that you could buy for between £1,000 and £5,000 and test them in a sensible and expensive manner. This is a 2010 Peugeot 407 3-litre HDI Coupé. This is the sport trim. It's been lent to me by Justin, whose 406 V6 manual coupe you would have seen on the channel on Sensible Secondhand Classics. There's just one problem though, and this is why this is Sensible Secondhand Reviews ULEZ Non-Compliance Edition. It's got a diesel engine. And yes, because normally we don't talk about diesels on this channel. So the 407 Coupe was launched in 2006, and the lineup for the engines principally was unfortunately forbidden fuel, which is why I'm driving one today. Yes, yeah. The thing is, I enjoyed the 406 Coupe so much, and Justin said you can come back and you can drive some more of my cars. And yeah, well, there's this one. It is a heavy car, this. It weighs something like 1,850 kilograms. But because it's got the same 3-litre engine as the Jaguar XF Sport Brake that you would have seen on contingency reviews last year, it's not slow. And standard, these were 241 horsepower, but this one it's a bit more than that. Yes, it's about 300 horsepower. Definitely not slow. So the other engines available in a 407 Coupe, certainly for our market anyway, were a 2.2 4-cylinder petrol with 160 horsepower, and then a 3-litre V6 with 210 horsepower. Now those were engines that were also used in the 406 Coupe, and they were actually dropped in 2007. Initially there was a 136 horsepower 4-cylinder forbidden fuel engine. It was a 2-litre. That was up to 163 horsepower later on. There was a facelift of these cars in 2008, and there was a bit of a monster engine that came in for these, which is the 2.7 V6 with 200 horsepower, and of course later this 3-litre V6 with 241 as standard. It certainly doesn't have any problems sort of on the move at all. It's just so powerful with this standard automatic transmission. All the V6 models got automatic transmission. It's just sort of effortless, really. You don't really need to think about anything other than just which autoroute you're going to be driving down, really, and just how cosseting the car is to drive. It's pretty nice. Suspension's pretty soft. The only thing I sort of get a bit more concerned about is what exactly is going to happen when I need some parts for this, because they didn't make very many of them. The 3-litre V6 is like this. There's something like 40 of them left. It's not a lot, really. It's not a lot at all. Anyway, let's go and find somewhere to park up and have a look at this car in a bit more detail. The one thing about 407, or any 407 actually, rather than just this coupe version, is this very controversial front end. This is an incredibly late car. It's a 60 plate, originally owned by Peugeot UK themselves, and of course we're very near Brighton on Dunsmore, where the factory was. It closed in 2006. So yeah, we're very much in the right area for one of these, even though they weren't made in Britain, of course. Very different sort of car from the 406 Coupe, very different, and not a Pininfarina design, I don't think, either. One thing that I've been told is if I press this button, then the boot will open. Let's just see if that... Oh my gosh, viewers. I can do that again. Ooh. I enjoyed that far too much. I really did. Justin's got one of these genuine sort of luggage nap things in here that I might slightly struggle with to open up to see if there's a spare tire, so just give me one moment. Yes, that was worth it. Here we go, space saver spare wheel. Brilliant. That is an improvement on a lot of modern cars. You just put this back as well. Right, there we go. Actually got in there, actually got a ski hatch in there, and I presume that means the seats do also fall because there's a split in them. Don't know the capacity of the boot, maybe 400 litres or so. It's not a hatchback, so it's a very sort of narrow opening for putting stuff in, but there's a lot of room in here. It's possibly because the wheelbase of this car is absolutely huge. Rear parking sensors, of course, and twin exhausts. All late 407 coupes like this one with sport models. Oh, it's quite a strong spring in there, isn't it? The car was done 110,000 miles. It looks remarkably well. These are the standard wheels that would have come on the car from new. Justin has some others that he uses. Some of they're just winter wheels, but I think they look perfect. I don't know if I'd personally change those at all, really. Only 2 doors, of course. Side airbags for the driver and passenger. I think it's got curtain airbags in it as well. There we go. Do like a bit of electric seat action so that I can get in. Let's mind my head. It's not bad. I don't have to be a contortionist to get in here or anything. Just close that quickly. Oh, my legs. Ooh. Yeah. Well, I've got climate controls and a USB sort of 12-volt socket back in here. I don't think I want to be in there very long, even if there's an armrest. I think I'll just free myself from here. Yeah, don't cross your legs when sitting in the back of a 407 coupe. It's not going to end well. Not going to end well at all. It's a little bit easier than 406 coupe getting it out, but it's not the easiest I've ever seen. Let's just put that back where it was. Oh, here you can see the controls, electric seats, and you can see that they're heated. The memory controls are on this side. That's nice and comfortable. Big sort of armchair type thing. Put the key in, there's no keyless entry, and there's a conventional handbrake, which actually makes me feel better, viewers, to be honest. Makes me feel better. So yes, there's the stereo controls, the cruise control stalk. Again, these, because they're out of a standard 407 or something, they don't really feel the best quality to me. Just put the window down so that I don't boil, because it's a very hot day today, viewers. 25 degrees. Similar controls in here to something like an RCZ as well, later RCZs. So we've got music, navigation. It's Wolston, that's where we are. Bidley Woods, that's not too far from here. Phone, you can set your phone up, even if you've got a Pixel 3a or an iPhone, you can connect it to the car. There's the SD card for the sat nav. And yeah, Fairham Southampton's not too far away from where I live, actually, either of those places. Justin's very kindly turned the stereo off so we don't get any copyright infringement. We've got 3 gauges here rather than just, sorry, 3 auxiliary gauges rather than just 2. Presume one's an oil temperature and one's a water temperature gauge. I imagine that's what it is. Automatic gearbox, of course, Titronic mode. I didn't use the sport mode, viewers, because well, it's not really what we do on this channel so much. We don't tend to do that sort of thing. We tend to drive very modestly. Cigarette lighter or 12-volt socket there. Multi-position armrest, which I'm still trying to get used to. Yes, it's not always my favourite, something like that. So I get tangled up in my wires. Let's see if the secret mission document's coming. Oh, the glove box is locked. Hold on a second, viewers. Let's just resolve our technical difficulty. Oh dear, viewers. Yeah. That Peugeot Sport badge, by the way, was added by Justin. It's not a standard one. Some of these cars did get a leather dashboard. This isn't one. This is a later car, so it doesn't have one. Justin might fit one, actually, because he does have one somewhere lying around. Yes, they haven't moved the fuse box from left to right-hand drive, so that's the end of that for the secret mission documents. However, we do have dual-zone climate control. There are, you know, some buttons, but there's not that many really for a car that's of this sort of era. These buttons are really small to operate this sort of, which looks like a touchscreen, but it's not. If you see what I mean, that's what it was popular back in the day, like that. But yes, certainly loads of airflow here. My mount's there, it's the mount I use. That's why you will complain about it. Door pockets are quite big. One thing I've noticed about this car, so if I close the door, the electric window switches, which you'd expect to be about here, are actually kind of there. So yes, you do have to find them a bit if you're sort of fiddling around when you're driving. So it's maybe not that safe unless you're used to it. Likewise, you don't expect stereo controls to be here unless you're familiar with you know, French cars. Cruise controls are about the same place you expect. Automatic lights, automatic wipers, of course. Fuel filler releases there. I do like conventional handbrakes. That's what I like, and just a normal place to put the key. No keyless entry. So yes, you know, quite nice, really, viewers. Apart from, you know, like a nice leather dash. It's a nice soft touch one. That is, I don't know if that's hard or soft. Really, it's not too bad. But yes, Justin shouldn't have told me that I could get a leather dash, because now I want one. I want one quite badly. Yes. One thing you don't get in this car is hydraulic bonnet struts. You've only got a normal one, which is a bit annoying on a sort of luxury car like this. The size of this, actually, look at the size of this 3 litre V6. Cam belt changes I've heard on these are a little bit difficult, in the same way that you know, the ones on the Jackie Access Sport Brake were. Just a few plastic big covers, really. It's not an awful lot really to say. Most of it's kind of hidden beyond the covers. Again, massive headlights, like a lot of cars of this era, including other Peugeots too, of course. And this big, huge intake. You're going to be swallowed up and sucked in. But yes, if Jaguar used the engine, it must have been good in some way, but I wouldn't like to think about the maintenance bills if anything goes wrong. certainly with a 0 to 60 time in standard form of 7.6 seconds, it's certainly quite fast, viewers. Yes, I mean, we're getting to this dual carriageway here, the A45, so we're going to put it through its paces. We might as well when we're here. Ooh. I think it's a 50 limit on this road, so we're maybe not going to exceed that, but wow, we're certainly up to speed very quickly, and the engine is pulling 1,300 RPM. That is not a lot. Really not very much at all. The ride certainly at this sort of speed on this kind of road is very, very compliant. Don't really feel much of what's going on at all. Visibility is a bit like an MPV, but for some reason I've got the seat down in its lowest position. I've got it in my driving position. It's an electric heated memory seat, of course. But I feel like I should be a little bit lower down somehow. That's just my personal feeling of one of these. And just so you'll let the side down a little bit is for the controls I've got on here for things like the radio and the cruise controls. They are very, very similar to something like, I don't know, 208 really, something like that. So the plastics maybe aren't the best, but anyway, I'm still enjoying myself. I'm enjoying myself a great deal. Just see how it corners going around this roundabout. Yeah, there's not a huge amount of feel through the steering. There really isn't. Really isn't too much at all. But if you want to just cruise around, and I think Justin uses this car for mainly kind of cruising around and as an everyday car, this is honestly pretty good. There are other cars that Justin has, and you know, you see one of them on the channel already. You'll be seeing another one as well, I think. And so he has a lot to choose from, and this is the one he normally drives. And yeah, I'm quite enjoying it really. The only problem is, as with I think everything Justin has, I've got to go and give this back now, and I'm not sure I really want to. Oh well. So viewers, let's have a look at some Peugeot 407 trim levels. There was the S, the SE, the Sport, like this, the Sport Multimedia, which this might be a Sport Multimedia with this screen in here. The GT, the Bellagio, which was a special edition, the ST and the SD. All of the later models were badged as Sport. So should you consider a 407 Coupé, viewers? Well, I suppose it depends what you want. I mean, we can obviously talk about the petrols for 2.2 4-cylinder and the 3-litre V6, and those were only available quite early on in the life of the car, and certainly probably those would be my preference. Those would both be compliant with ultra emission and clean air zones as well, because they're 2006 or later. In terms of forbidden fuel ones, this very late one that's been modified, it's a very interesting thing for making progress. I like the smooth automatic transmission and the effortlessness of the engine, but obviously if you're going into Birmingham, that's not too far from here, or London or something like that, it's just not going to be the best idea to have one of these. Prices are pretty low. I mean, you can get, I think, a 2.2 for about £1,500 these days. Top ones, something like this, £4,000 or £5,000. So quite modestly priced really for the amount of equipment you get, but I think the servicing bills on something like this might be quite expensive, so just obviously worth bearing in mind for that. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed for watching this episode of Sensible Secondhand Reviews. Please don't forget to like this video, turn notifications on to be informed of when new videos come if you subscribed. Social media links are down below, and we'll have another episode of this quite soon. Thank you.